It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right, hey, back at the Working Man's Beach. Here we are. Patrick Johnson Show on a Tuesday. Boy, those Monday shows are they just zip by. Monday's a long day, but they just zip by. The shows do. We had a huge crowd. Had people as far away as Raleigh last night at the show for the Patrick Johnson Show, I might add. Those folks got there for that. They said we wanted to they couldn't hear me, but they wanted to watch me, I guess, sit there and talk into a microphone. Anyway, that was nice of them. Good to see those folks, and good to see you today, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us here on the PJ Show, on air, online, and on the app. Free for download at Google Play and the App Store. No pre-roll ads. That's the IBX Media app, and we're approaching 10,000 downloads. So if you have not downloaded it yet, in fact, I was talking to somebody last night about how great the app is and how they go back and they listen to the shows that we have on the sports station here, 94.3 The Game, in an archival way. They listen to everything that we do in podcast form. So I thought that was pretty cool, too. All right, Jim Szoke coming up in a little bit. Panthers have, unless they've made a decision in the last little bit, they have not announced who their starting quarterback is going to be, and I don't think it matters. We'll get Zoke's take on that. Pilk, too, I'm sure will chime in. Speaking of which, Philip the Ref Pilkington is here today. You know, it was amazing last night, Pilk. And I know you've been to a couple of those shows, so you know the setup. As people know, there's a little back entrance tiebreakers, but there's, the front doors where they have their little patio area. And Blake Harrell rolls right up through the front door. And I swear I've never heard this in the 2 years we've been doing the show there, or year plus, year and a half. But, Blake walks in the door, and there's a standing ovation and a loud cheer from the people there. And, again, it was packed to the brim. Pretty amazing. So Blake Harrell, at least for a week, has captured the hearts of Pirate Nation with the win at homecoming. And, look, it's a big deal because there's not been a great deal of success over the last decade. Winning at homecoming is one of those that you probably need to try to win annually.
You do. And first off, the reason Blake Harrell walked through the front door is because Blake Harrell is the most normal guy you've ever met. He just happens to know more about football than the rest of us. That's who Blake Harrell is. Secondly, he got the ovation, and obviously there's not going to be an Inside Pirate Athletics next week because of the first basketball game of the season. But, he's captured the hearts of Pirates fans for at least 2 weeks thanks to the bye week here, which is a little disappointing, honestly, that we have a bye after the performance that team put together. But a little backtrack, though. You mentioned the IBX Media app, Patrick. You also mentioned Jim Szoke. And when I was talking to Szoke on Saturday, he said how he got to the stadium was archiving our Friday shows and listening in on those. And then how he gets home is going back and listening to the broadcast, studying a little film on himself, also on the IBX Media app, so you can get all of our shows and the games. And our guy Jim Szoke even has the IBX Media app. The big man from the big city of Cleveland moved to Charlotte, has the IBX Media app from our little old town of Greenville. So if he's got it, you should have it.
No reason you shouldn't have it either. All right, some house cleaning for the week as we look ahead. And we'll also hit a few headlines and then some audio. I got asked a lot about our interview with Chancellor Philip Rogers from Saturday's pregame. It's kind of become an annual tradition where we have Philip on for homecoming. And it was great to have him on. We wanted to try to get him on the show, and then we're going to, if we were able to do that last week, re-air that. So he's committed to come on after the new year. So we'll have him on sometime early next year on one of the regular shows here. But we'll play some cuts from that. Figured that was the best form to kind of go through it, and then we could kind of pick and choose what we thought was the interesting stuff. But, speaking of the app, you could go listen to that interview on the app right now if you wanted to. But don't. Stay with us here. So we'll have some of that. We'll also have a few of the highlights of what Blake Harrell had to say last night at the aforementioned Inside Pirate Athletics, which Philip is right, is on a hiatus until the 11th because basketball starts next week. Pilk, I also sent you the podcast segment I got. Mike Swartz is kind of doing a media blitz, and, of course, it started yesterday with our show. But I guess he was on 99.9 The Fan this morning, promoting the upcoming season starting next week and all of that. And wanted to let you know that I sent that to if you can get it posted on our socials.
Sorry, I forgot to respond to your text. It has been posted.
Oh, okay, good.
I was in the middle of something. I did it, and then I didn't respond, so I apologize.
All right. So it is on the socials. You can listen to
Facebook
that.
Twitter, yeah. From
99.9 The Fan, our friends in Raleigh there. I think they were on the Next Up show that I've been on a handful of times here in the last few months. All right. Couple of other notes as it pertains to ECU. They, in case you missed it yesterday, they have announced that the final game of the football season will be followed by a basketball game. There was some talk they were going to play one on Friday if the football game were on Saturday, or the basketball game on Friday if the basketball game were on Saturday, or on Saturday play the basketball game if the football game were being played Friday. Well, in an effort to hope some of the fans that go to the football game will stick around for the basketball game, they're going to play hoops at 5:30 that day against North Carolina A&T. So out of the Colonial now, or the Coastal, excuse me, the CAA. So that is going on there. So do make note of that, as that'll be the modus operandi. If you have a football ticket and you show it at the box office, you get, is it $5 off or is it a $5 ticket? I think it's a $5 ticket, isn't it?
$5 ticket is what I've been told. Yeah.
Okay. So that's a pretty good deal for Pirate basketball. All right. I will be out on Thursday. I have some out-of-town obligations to do, personal stuff. So Pilk will be hosting the show that day. Right now, the schedule is calling for me to be back Friday. I should know something by this afternoon or this evening definitively on that, but it's going to be Joey Football and Chris Hughes from Carolina Preps Friday. And if I'm not, Pilk will just handle it and everybody will be happy. But I think we can get all this done depending on some travel I've got scheduled for the weekend. So that is kind of the lay of the land for the rest of the week. Dodgers are up 3-0 in the World Series. Freddie Freeman continues to blister the baseball. He's got to be the MVP of the series, Pilk. I don't think there's any doubt about that at this point. I mean, even if the Dodgers were not getting the type of play they're getting from him where he's homering in every game, just based on what he did to set the tone for Game 1 might have won him the series MVP. So how about that? I know a lot of Braves fans have it stuck in their craw a little bit about how Freddie Freeman left Atlanta, but he's had the issues with his child. I mean, you can't help but root for Freeman.
No, I'm really happy for him. I'm with you, P-Man. Barring this series getting interesting, which I don't see it happening, and somebody having to come through big in Game 6 or Game 7, it's probably going to be him, and then it would still probably be him. So my question to you, Patrick, is first off, can the Yankees pull off the reverse sweep? And if so, does it right all of their wrongs from 2004, considering they would be doing it against Dave Roberts, who made the most famous play and the momentum-turning play in that steal in the 9th inning of Game 4 all the way back in 2004?
So I remember that game. I think I might have been watching it with Nate Summers, in fact. And I think that the Yankees could not pull that. I mean, they might win tonight, and they very well could. But I can't see them pulling off the reverse sweep. But, boy, the New York media, and I include ESPN in that, are smoking the hopium that they can. Because, that's a Yank Sox area up there. And, boy, the New York media is hoping that that'll be the case. I mean, that's all you read about is the reverse sweep and 20 years ago, and it has only been done once, yada, yada, never been done in the World Series, obviously. So No, I don't think they can, Pilk. Be interesting to see. Dodgers, could this be the beginning of a pretty lengthy run for the Dodgers? I just think even baseball in the way it's set up now, dynasty talk is a little premature, I think. I just don't think there's that's what Kansas City's doing is fairly remarkable. Because I don't think sport is set up now for a bunch of dynasty, but dynasties usually bring interest to your sport because of the extended greatness. So I don't, but I can't see it. But I'm not so sure but I think this could be a little one of those deals like San Francisco where they win 3 out of 6.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be something like that where the Dodgers would be in it every year, kind of like Houston minus the cheating, for LA. Obviously, with Ohtani in the lineup, they've got the best player in baseball. And people would want to flock and play. It's cool to play in LA again, despite the gargantuan taxes in the state of California.
It's interesting that you bring up could this be the beginning? Because you're very right in saying that it could be, but it's weird that we're talking about this as the beginning, right? This is a team that won the World Series back in 2020. This is a team who's been
different look now.
That's the point. It's a different look. But the thing is, they never went down, right? Like, they've changed it, but they've been in the playoffs every year. They've lost 2 World Series in there. They've lost some NLCSs. So it's funny to talk about that. But to your point, Bellinger, gone. Seager, Justin Turner, there's a few others that I can't think off the top of my head that are gone, and now it's a new core group with Freddie Freeman and with Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts, who actually beat the Dodgers at one point in a World Series. It's still part of this all run, but you're right, I think, Patrick. This is a new, revamped Dodgers team, despite a few pieces still being the same, despite Dave Roberts still being the manager, and with those being said, hey, this could be the beginning of, I don't know if dynasty is the word, but hey, like you said, if they win tonight or this week and you get 2 more, I guess you're calling it that.
Yeah. I just don't know if baseball's set up for it with the expanded playoff, though.
That part is tough, but hey, there's still ways. There's no salary cap. That helps.
That's true. All right. And Clayton McCullough, first base coach, the Greenville native, ECU alum. And Mike Mullis taught him everything he knew. All right, we'll be back. We'll have what the Chancellor had to say on the Patrick Johnson Show here on 94.3 The Game when Chancellor Philip Rogers joined us on Saturday.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Download the new IBX Media app now and get the show for your ears and eyes.
Doesn't it look great on me?
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the sound bites from Philip Rogers' appearance on the pregame show. We started with what was the large topic from last week, not only in athletics as far as East Carolina goes, but certainly the university and community level, and that was the dismissal of Mike Houston as the program's football coach.
When you operate in college athletics, you become not only professional colleagues with folks, but you develop personal and meaningful relationships that will last a long time with coaches and athletics personnel and other members of the university community. And so certainly was a tough weekend last weekend, but it was a moment that I think is going to move the ECU football program in the right direction. Mike Houston and his family are a class act, excellent, amazing human beings. Have been very gracious and professional throughout all of this. They've wished Pirate Nation nothing but the best. And what you saw in that statement that he and his family made is exactly who he is as a human being.
And this is Chancellor Rogers on what he wants in a new coach.
Incredibly important that we find our next head coach who is coming from a tradition of winning, someone who understands what success looks like as an individual, as a leader, as a coach, someone who understands what success looks like from a program perspective, and someone who has successful mentors. I think that's huge, to have been surrounded by people who have who know what a winning intercollegiate athletic D1 college football program looks like, and to be able to bring that winning mindset to East Carolina University in a way that we need to see this football program thrive, because you mentioned we are the game in town.
I thought that was interesting what he is kind of saying for what he wants in the new football coach. He wants someone with experience in winning, and if I heard that correct, somebody who maybe has mentors in the business that they can rely on to get advice from. Now that automatically, names you can rattle off have been all kind of put out there and what have you, but it sort of sounds to me like that could be about anybody, obviously, but it sounds like a young guy. At first blush, when I heard that at the time, I thought, okay, well, he's thinking young.
He's thinking young, but also, he's thinking, by these comments, when you talk about somebody who's got a mentor, in no disrespect to the whole Mike Houston situation, but he came from Lenoir-Rhyne, and then he was at the Citadel, and then JMU. He didn't come from one of those big-name coaching trees. And that sounds to me like I want a guy from a coaching tree where the mentor has already mentored successful assistants, is kind of what I got from that.
It also means Skip Holtz.
I would say he had a great mentor from the day he was born.
Yes. All right. More from Chancellor Philip Rogers. We got into the state of college athletics presently.
You know, it's interesting. I'm leaving on Monday. I'm heading to Indianapolis through Wednesday. We have our fall meeting of the Division I NCAA Board of Directors. And what we'll spend the better part of 2 days as a group of college presidents talking about this very issue. The state of intercollegiate athletics is as fragile as I've seen it in a long time. It's complex and complicated, and it's changing before our very eyes. To your point, from an amateur model more to a professional mindset. And you know, when you take a step back and look at it and think about how you have to position your institution to be successful, one thing that has been interesting to me is to look at the dichotomy of tiers within individual conferences.
Sure.
And so you look into ACC, for example, you've got 2 or 3 different tiers of budgets and spending levels and approaches to how institutions are going to be taking on the response to revenue sharing among student athletes and the house settlement. The same is true in our conference, and part of what we're going to have to do to position ourselves is to make sure we're moving up into the upper third echelon of the conference in terms of how we think about investing in our student athletes. And
you know what he said there, and this is the thing that certain fan bases within a conference that is headquartered in this state don't understand. And that is there are levels of spending within a conference.
Are you talking about a certain fan base that is also in this state that is in that conference?
Yes.
Okay.
There's not unlimited money there. They think there is, but they also thought that their football team was going to win 9 or 10 games and maybe be a dark horse to make the playoffs again this year, which they're not. They have the same record as East Carolina right now overall. And a lot less resource in Greenville and a lot less hype. And then final thing from Philip Rogers here about the attaching fees to tickets that would be put into a pot for NIL.
I think there's a lot of different models that we're going to have to be thoughtful about. And the model is different depending on what conference you're in and what your base has the appetite for. And I think based on a rural or urban environment, you have different opportunities to generate different types of revenue streams. And so, you look at the University of Texas and oil country and have big business all around them in a major metropolitan area. We're going to have to be a little bit creative and different than what they might have access to, on the ground in that particular space. And so you never say never to anything, and you got to have all the options on the table and cast a wide net to make sure that you're able to stay competitive at a time when you've got other institutions in this conference that are positioning themselves to do the same.
All right. Comments from Philip Rogers there. I don't think you can really glean anything of what he was saying from that, but I think that will happen. It's going to have to happen. And we're all waiting to see what happens with this house settlement. He discussed that as well. A couple comments here from Blake Harrell at last night's Inside Pirate Athletics, about a half dozen of them. And they're not terribly long, so let's see if we can rattle through these here. This is Coach Harrell talking about the play of Caton Hauser in his second start.
A little disappointed he didn't get AAC Player of the Week. I think he thought he played really well, played with a lot of confidence. I tell you what, I told him, you play with energy, you play with fire, and that kind of linked in our whole offense and our whole football team. And just really proud of what he did on Saturday.
Okay, more from Blake on the skills that have allowed Caton to be successful.
I thought he did an awesome job this Saturday of just leading our offense, getting us set. You don't see any miscommunications out there. You see everybody on the same page. And I thought that was a big key for Saturday. He just did it in his own way. Obviously different than Jake. Jake's going to do it in his own way. But I thought it was really effective and just moving the ball and keeping the chains moving down the field.
And then, Hauser gets honorable mention in the AAC. Jamarly Riddle also getting honorable mention in the AAC. And Blake Harrell talked about that young man's play.
I told Marley last week, and when I went and watched him play at a high school game in the playoffs last winter, last December. I said, hey, you had a pick six and that rushing touchdown when I come watch you last. How about you do that again this Saturday? And he did it, and I grabbed him on the sideline and said, hey, you told me you're going to do it. And he's a gifted young man, really excited about his future, but playing really good football for us right now.
All right, I asked Blake Harrell about, last week, balancing everything he had to balance, how tough that was leading up to the game.
I said this Monday compared to last Monday is totally different.
Piece of cake, right?
Oh yeah, like this Monday we can handle. Last but got to the end of the week, somebody's like, "Hey, happy belated birthday." I'm like, "Yeah, that seems like a month ago."
Yeah,
and it really did. The first of the week, you were trying to figure out exactly what direction we need to head as a football team, as a football program, what we could change up, to make things re-energize our players and our young men, and make it all about our seniors, making sure we're setting them up for success, and kind of make it their football team and build around them and what they thought we needed to do as well. So that was where your focus was last Monday, and kind of getting prepared for that and preparation, because you didn't have any time to waste. I mean, you had a game in 6 days that you had to get ready for. And I know there's been a lot of transitions across the country over the years, but how many of them only had 6 days, and how many of them were able to go get a win after that as well? So that was huge part, and hats off to our seniors and the job they did doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Blake Harrell making it all about the players. Also, he discussed what was the message to the players heading into the homecoming game.
All week it was, hey, let's play with great energy for each other. If one of us make a play, all of us are going to make a play, and we're going to celebrate everything. We make a first down, we're going to celebrate it. We make a big stop, we're going to celebrate it. And, I thought that the energy you saw on the sidelines, that was real, and that was not – you can't make that stuff up. It's because they care for each other and they love each other. And then we talked about playing with great effort. We play harder than Temple, we'll have a good chance to win the ball game. And then the last thing was just sticking together. And that's in everything we do, stick together. And every single day we focused on that day, winning that day. It wasn't, hey, on Tuesday we couldn't worry about Friday. On Tuesday we had to take care of business on Tuesday. Wednesday, take care of business on Wednesday. And every single day.
All right. One of the things I was remiss in doing last week, and of course there was a lot going on with, the news of Sunday and Mike Houston's dismissal and Blake taking over as the head coach, and we had the coaches show, and we were doing our coverage, and Blake on. Of course, John Gilbert came on that show. But one of the things that we were remiss in not talking about was Brock Spalding. He had that terrible looking non-contact injury on a catch at Army. And we get an update on Brock Spalding's status and where he is right now from interim coach Blake Harrell.
He got banged up in the Army game, and is on a punt return and was handling those duties for us. And he ended up having surgery on his knee last week. And it wasn't an ACL, just some stuff with his kneecap there. But surgery went well. He's back and recovering right now. Still some a little bit of pain, but he was on the sideline Saturday, until he felt uncomfortable. Then went in the weight room and watched it from there. But just, really excited about Brock in the future and just wishing him well in recovery here. And I know he's going to work his butt off to get back.
All right. Today's Pirate Report brought to you in part by East Carolina Weight Loss. Your chance to go ahead and get on the program now. And by the beginning of the year, when most people are saying, well, I got to lose all this holiday weight, you'll be good to go. You already have lost possibly 20 or 30 pounds. East Carolina Weight Loss, you can lose a pound of fat every day, naturally, safely, and effectively. Do so without counting points, counting calories, no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no drugs, no surgery, no injections with the risky side effects. I was talking to somebody yesterday who's gotten on those injections, and they say that it has had its effects. They've lost some weight, but it's they wish they could have found another way to do it. And I told them all about this. East Carolina Weight Loss. You can visit now to schedule a free consultation. 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two for most folks. I've lost 60 since last year. Call for free weight loss consultation at 252-496-3610, 252-496-3610, or eastcarolinaweightloss.com. The other part, a couple other things going on with EC Weight Loss that I think you might find interesting. They are offering a free body composition analysis for this month. $197 value for free. New testing will give you great information about the visceral fat around your organs, your metabolic age, your BMI, your body fat percentage, all the things you need to know to help you better understand where you are now and where you want to go and to live a healthier life. So it's EastCarolinaWeightLoss.com. Do go to EastCarolinaWeightLoss.com to find out more, and tell them Patrick Johnson sent you. All right, let's hit a break. No, let's hit Pilkington first. He's got a 94-3 the game sports update and Pirate report, including some breaking news from Panther country. Speaking of which, Carolina Panthers Radio Network and ECU Sports Network football play-by-play man Jim Szoke on the other side. But first, here's Pilk.
Thank you, P-Man. Starting in Pirate Athletics, football team is on a bye, but they have looked much better offensively, especially over the last 6 quarters. Caton Hauser was asked if that is due to newfound confidence.
Yeah, definitely. Just even in the springtime, summer, I feel like we were clicking too, and just being able a chance to play, and then these past couple quarters stuff, being able to stay consistent on offense has been the biggest thing, and then just executing. So yeah, I feel like we're clicking for sure.
Game 4 of the World Series we played tonight at 8 o'clock in the Bronx as the Yankees trying to avoid a series sweep. In NFL news, the Carolina Panthers have traded wide receiver Deontay Johnson and a 6th-round pick to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for a 5th-round pick. Johnson was going to be a free agent at the end of the year. In other NFL news, another quarterback from the 2023 draft class has been benched for a seasoned vet, as the Colts have announced that Joe Flacco will be taking over the starting quarterback role over Anthony Richardson. Staying in the AFC South, the Texans have announced that their star wide receiver Stephon Diggs did in fact tear his ACL in Sunday's contest and will miss the remainder of the season. The Canes got their 4th straight win last night in Vancouver thanks to an overtime goal by Sebastian Aho. That is his 2nd overtime goal of this 4-game winning streak. He got one in Edmonton last week. He's only got 3 goals on the season, but he's making them when they count. That'll do it for your 94 through the game sports flash update and Pirate report. We're going to take a timeout, and we're going to talk more about that Deontay Johnson trade, as well as more Panthers and ECU news on the other side with Jim Szoke.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt & Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt & Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color.
not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut and color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Have you noticed he's in his own little happy hour? We're back to the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
This is the Happy Hour program.
Here's the P-Man.
Okay, Jim Szoke, Panthers Radio Network, also ECU Sports Network with us here. Good afternoon, Mr. Szoke.
Patrick, how are you today?
Doing real well, thank you. Stand by, here we go.
Everyone, a little breaking news for you.
The Ravens have acquired Deontay Johnson and a 25 sixth-round pick from the Panthers. And there's some other stuff in there for a fifth-round pick. All right, Jim. Boy, big moves here for the Panthers ahead of Week 9. Big move.
Yeah, so essentially they traded Deontay to move up one round from the 6th to the 5th round is what that is. So so that's probably the most predictable trade that was going to happen was Deontay Johnson getting moved because you got one veteran receiver in Thielen. Deontay's here on a one-year deal. He's not going to resign for a rebuild. And I'll just say probably not the greatest locker room guy to have when things aren't going well. So it's probably probably the most predictable thing that was going to happen before the trade deadline.
I do want to correct Jim. He said we're moving up one round. Jim, we're moving up about 3 picks probably because it'll go from the first pick of the 6th round to like the second to last pick of the 5th round.
Let me enjoy the trade, Philip. Let me enjoy the trade for a minute.
I'm sorry.
I tell you, Pilkington.
It's
watch
like when
out
the Panthers
for him.
moved up into the first round to get Xavier Legette. They moved up one spot into the first round, so we did do that.
Well, still a first-round pick. Whenever Pilk, whenever you hear from Pilk now, Zoke, I'm going to give David Horner sounder to play. throwing a wet blanket on Zoke's excitement for a trade.
When you win three games over parts of 2 seasons, that does tend to happen.
Yeah, that's true. What other moves would you expect? As you say, that was the move that, for a lot of reasons, made some sense. Will we see anything else, do you believe?
I think, it's possible because of the fact that you're at that point where the trade deadline, we still got a week, is something where you might as well get something as opposed to guys just moving off after the end of the season. So I don't know in particular what the Panthers might want to move, but I could see teams inquiring about Chuba Hubbard, Adam Thielen for sure. We'll see what they want to do with Bryce Young. We saw Anthony Richardson get benched in Indianapolis. They're going with Joe Flacco. Would somebody want to trade a pick to give him an opportunity to, come in as a number 2 quarterback and maybe try to see if they could get something going with him down the road? So we'll see. I mean, we don't have a lot. I think Jadeveon Clowney might be someone else, again, veteran guys that we just brought in that other teams might be interested in. They're making a playoff push like Baltimore, teams like that. So trades like that are probably the most likely thing. And again, I think for the Panthers, it's that, trying to get 5th-round picks, 4th-round picks, whatever you can get in exchange for somebody that might not be here next year.
Jim Szoke, ECU Sports Network, Panthers Radio Network, WBT Hall of Famer. Okay, so it is going to be the Saints on Sunday. So Sean Payton's old team, after meeting Sean Payton again, boy, he's just a bag of fluffy ducks, isn't he? That Sean Payton.
You could play that sounder again when you mentioned Sean Payton about the womp womp.
We could.
Because, Sean Payton. I mean, that guy running double passes and trick plays and fake punts. I mean, they're up by 3 touchdowns, but hey, you know what you're getting. It's one of those things like if he's your coach and you're winning, you probably think it's great, and if not, it's sour grapes. But as he said, play better, and that's how you can avoid situations like that. I will say the Saints team is nothing like the one he used to coach back in the days of Drew Brees and all those great players. So they it looks like, barring a setback in practice, Derek Carr returns this week. So Spencer Rattler didn't do great, but he had at least a chance to go out there and get some reps. Losing Rashid for the season was tough for them. And they do have back Olave. Alvin Kamara's having a good season. But I think for the Panthers, this is like one of those games at home. We'll see. It's only Tuesday. We'll see later in the week if Andy Dalton might come back this week. It could be one of those ones that go, okay, now the Saints have lost 6 in a row. They did blow us out opening day, but they've lost 6 in a row. So there's a chance that this might be one of the more gettable ones that are left on the schedule right now for Carolina.
As the late, great Norm MacDonald would say during Weekend Update on SNL, all Germans love David Hasselhoff, and they're going to love some pretty lousy football in a couple weeks, are they not, Jim?
We've got a barn burner brewing with the Panthers and the Giants. I don't know how much goodwill we're sending over to the football fans of Munich, but it's a great town. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to going. And I've been my wife's college roommate, one of our best friends lives there, so we've been there a number of times. And it really is. It's a great city. It's a nice mix of old and new. And I think with this game, this will occupy 3 of the hours that many people will be observing. I would say plan other entertainment things around in addition to the game.
The good news about it, this is one thing I do like about these European vacation games, is it's in the morning, so it kind of you get it out of the way, but it's it gives you a little foot. And then if you could get your football fix Sunday morning and then go on about your day if you're not interested in watching something, or if you just want to wait around till the Cowboys are on
here,
for whatever reason
right
in the 4 window or in prime time. I'm sorry, Jim. What did you say? I was railing on the Cowboys there. Sorry.
I was saying, it's fine for you guys when you're back here, but it'll be the middle of the day out there, so it'll be like a 3:30 game or whatever. Just like a 6-hour difference. So 6-hour difference.
I wonder, has anybody ever made the jaunt from Munich to Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I am about to set a Kirk Herbstreit type record. I'll be in Greenville Thursday, fly out of Charlotte Friday, land in Munich Saturday morning, do the game Sunday, come back Tuesday to Charlotte, fly to Tulsa Wednesday for Thursday night ECU at Tulsa, come back Friday morning from Tulsa. I don't think that's ever been done. The history of air travel, even the Wright brothers never even dreamt of such a possibility.
No, the Wright brothers never did that. The people in Ohio where you're from, Jim, who claim they were first in flight, but they were not. I've never done anything like that. And I'll say this, Jim Szoke. You unlike Herbstreit, who's getting private jet service and all this, you're not. So you're tougher than he is, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm not even in the air half the time. I'm driving back and forth to Greenville.
Right? Yes, you're more on the road. At least you're not driving to Tulsa, thankfully.
No,
I'm
not going to drive to Tulsa.
Yes, let's talk Pirates, and what a game that was. Lots of scoring in the first half. We discussed it last night. I mean, you all discussed it as well during the game. But that score. The run and then the pass to Smith that set up the score with 8 seconds to go to Sowell was the thing that really flipped the game against Temple.
It was, and there were a lot of heroes out there, and of course, having quarterback play like Caden Hauser taking care of the football by and large was really key, and that's been one of the big differences. And one of the things the coaches talked about too with him is, there were some big plays, no doubt. And Temple's defense had something to do with that, without covering some of those guys. But what they liked going in was Hauser's awareness in the short amount of time he's been out there. Taking the check down when it's there, not always trying to hit the home run ball, but when it's there, see it and take it. So I thought that was well done. And seeing Rajay running the way that he was running in the game too, and all of that was good. And while the defense gave up, some early stuff, I thought they settled in and then helped to make up for it. You get a pick 6 from Riddle, and you get a couple of their takeaways by the defense, setting up short field. So even though they gave up, 34 points in the game or whatever, they put some backup on the offensive scoreboard too. And that's the ultimate complementary football. The key is now you got some extra time for Blake Harrell and the guys. They had one game to go through it, and it was interesting talking to Blake heading into it, having not been a head coach before, all the processes and communications that went into it. Now that he's experienced it, and then you get 9-10 days before your next one, and you're staying at home for the next one, I think it sets up nicely for them. And FAU's got to play a Friday night game. So I think it's going to be a good situation. So hopefully they can get on a little bit of a roll here.
Jim, how did you see what were the differences you noticed from the last couple games to the game before or to the Temple game? What was the biggest thing that you saw? What was the biggest difference?
Well, and we do have to throw out there, Army and Temple are not the same thing. So that's
Sure.
the first thing. I mean, playing Army, a top 21 team now, versus Temple is not the same thing. You expect to beat Temple at home, so that has to be said. But beyond that, played loose. I mean, considering a tense situation that happened and the feelings that the players had for Coach Houston, I mean that's not easy. But I like the way they rallied around, Coach Harrell and also JDB. I just think with everybody, I think they all kind of pulled together and took accountability for what their record was. So I think that from an emotional standpoint. And then I think you're predicated. You built a lot of this on the fact that you want to make explosive plays, and it's not just saying that. Part of that is the offensive line isn't always the best part of your team, and so if you can get explosive plays as opposed to engineering long, sustained drives without getting penalties and all the hiccups and things that could happen on that, that's the goal. And they were able to accomplish that with some quick scoring and things like that. And again, I thought the defense bent, but they were opportunistic. And as far as taking the ball away, getting some key stops when it mattered, they fell behind in the first half, but they rallied. So I thought that was all great. And it really was on both sides of the football an improvement, and I think a real confidence builder. So I think as much of it as it was football, I just think just kind of the vibes of the team, some confidence now with 4 to go. You're talking about a bunch of 19 and 20-year-olds in a lot of cases here, a lot of true freshmen that are playing. I think that could really be something that could hopefully carry over into the next couple of games.
Szoke, what do you feel like Katin Houser has brought to the table?
I think, Jake did some good things too. I think Jake obviously has some obvious physical gifts as far as arm talent. I think he's a very aggressive runner, so decisive in a lot of things there. I think with Katin, you get a little bit more of just understanding, when to take the big bite and when to check it down, when to, throw it away and not try to throw it into a super tight window. Taking care of the football is the number one thing. You lose so many opportunities when you turn the ball over that you're just giving the other team more opportunities, and it's fewer for you. And you're leading the nation in turnovers, and you had to stop that. So I think with Houser, I think that has limited that. And some of the ones he's had is like he's getting hit as he's thrown because he didn't really have pass protection as far as Houser went. It wasn't necessarily on him like the first interception. So I think just that he's probably seeing things a little bit better. And I do think the coaches say this because we're talking to them about him. I'm not physically out of practice, haven't been for weeks now. Is that his touch on the ball? Again, practice is different than the game, but I think there's a certain amount of he had one where he just dropped it in the bucket. It's the plays like that are so needed on the offensive and that require touch. Not everything can be a fastball. Some things have to have nice touch on them, if it's a flat, if it's a screen pass, if it's a crosser that's 8 yards in front of you. Just that touch and feel of having different velocity on some of the passes, I think he has a little bit more. But again, I think if Jake has to come in and play some point, I think he'll probably do better. He'll get a chance to sit, come back in. So if something were to happen and he has to come back in and play, I think Garcia's got some good things about him too. But Houser kind of has maybe a little bit smoother around the edges of some of the things we talked about.
All right, Jim, thanks a lot. Look forward to hearing you on Sunday when the Panthers play host to the Saints. Wish you a fantastic trip. Of course, I think we'll probably – I don't know if we'll see you because of the way we got to do our pregame on Thursday. But if we don't, we won't. But anyway, have a great trip to Germany, and good luck with all this travel coming up the next couple weeks.
Are you just going to blow him off middle of next week and not let him come on your show?
That's what it sounded like.
Oh, that's right. Oh, my gosh. I don't know.
Are we going to say goodbye twice now?
Yeah.
It's like awkward.
We
now
do.
We have to say goodbye twice. We got to do
that
it
was awkward.
Week.
That was awkward. That was awkward, wasn't it, Jim?
That's okay.
Sorry,
we'll take
Jim.
it out of the final edit.
Yeah, there you go. We could just do that. All right, Jim Szoke with us here. Szoke, great to talk to you.
You guys got it. Thank you.
All right, there he goes, the one and only Jim Szoke. We'll be back to wrap up today's proceedings after this timeout. Patrick Johnson Show here on 94.3 The Game.
It's time to switch out that old ride and save on a new Toyota. Switch out your current vehicle and get cash on the spot. Then save on a new Corolla for just $229 a month or a Highlander for only $409 a month. Switch and save at Greenville Toyota.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves tiebreakers.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
Let's go! Woo! Woo! Yeah! Football time! Set the tone. Kyle, tie your shoes, tie your shoes. Yeah, good job. Woo! Yeah!
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Get ready to switch and save at Greenville Toyota. Switch out of that old ride and save on new RAV4s, $329 a month. Or test drive the redesigned 2025 Camry, all with our advantage. It's time to switch and save at Greenville Toyota.
And now, the stunning conclusion of the show. It's the P-Man here on 94.3 The Game.
All right. Michigan quarterback Jack Tuttle quitting football, says the number of concussions and health problems is the reason. Posted on Instagram that he recently had his 5th concussion of his college career. Also has been suffering from an elbow injury. 7 years he's played, I think it is, 6 or 7. One of those that has been around forever and a day, 25 years of age. So, I mean, this is probably was going to be the end of the road for him anyway. And then Grayson McCall, of course, last week, Dave Dorn said some things. McCall said some things today about that. That is the one thing in this era of at least being more aware of concussions and CTE and all that. That, some players are maybe making a decision that would be wise for their health long term. The league, I'm not going to say the league and college football don't care about the player safety, because they obviously are trying to do things to mitigate this and be as careful as possible. But, kudos to these players for making the right decisions for their future.
Yeah, I think so. And, Patrick, you mentioned we know more. And you're right, we do. But also, the inside of our skull and everything that protects the brain has not gotten stronger, but the guy who's hitting you sure as heck has. I think the brains are even taking more of a pounding than they used to, just because, look, you got Jalen Hurts as a quarterback squatting over 500 pounds. Back in the day, a lineman couldn't squat that. So you're getting hit with a lot more force than you ever were back in the day. Now it's like getting hit by a car. It used to be like getting hit by a person.
And, these college guys, it's a little different for them. I know the whole Tua situation, and I'm sure Tua's got plenty of money in the bank. I don't know if he's spent it wisely or saved it. Who knows? But, that's a professional decision. That's his livelihood. So, I wouldn't be critical of him as far as what he's deciding to do or not do in that situation. But certainly warrants thinking about. But you make a great point. These are bigger, faster, stronger. There have been advances in certain helmets to be worn and things you can put on the helmet and what have you. But boy, you see that stuff, and it's a stark reminder of just how dangerous the game that we all love is. Big thanks to Jim Szoke for being on with us today. Great to talk to Jim. Good to hear from him, and we will talk to him next week. I had a mental lapse. And then we will have Doug Martin on with us tomorrow. So Doug will be on during the show. Tomorrow we'll be back at 5 o'clock in the morning on Talk of the Town on Talk 103.7 and 96.3 in the IBX Media app for me. And then back here for the Patrick Johnson Show tomorrow. Pilk will host on Thursday as he will get you through. So Philip Pilkington will be guiding the boat here on Thursday. All right, we'll let you know what the rest of the week looks like beyond that. Don't forget that Thursday show will be at 4. Steve Logan at 5 on Thursday. Back here tomorrow at 5 with Doug Martin. Always great to catch up with him. We'll ask him about some of these quarterbacks, who's NFL ready. All of that when we join you for another action-packed episode tomorrow of the Patrick Johnson Show. Have a great rest of your afternoon and evening.